In 1952, Schweitzer was awarded the Nobel Prize for Peace. He is the only Nobel Prize winner, and this is a very funny story actually, that wrote a letter to the Nobel Prize Committee and said, "Thank you for the award, I'm very honored, but I cannot come right now to pick up the award. I have to do so much, I have to build a leprosy village, but would you mind sending the money ahead of time and then I will come and pick up the award a couple of years later." They did. They wired the money, and 2 years later, in 1954, 2 years later, Schweitzer picked up the Nobel Prize. It's the only person that received a Nobel Prize who went 2 years later to pick it up because he had no time. He had to build a leprosy village. Schweitzer made his own cross. 2 years before he died, he had Madungu, that was his personal assistant, Madungu come to him to measure him from here to there. And Madungu asked, "But doctor, pourquoi? Pourquoi? Why?" "Because I want you to prepare my sark. I want to make it myself. And you are going to assist me. And then we are going to put together the cross, which I want you to put on my grave after I have passed away." Every year before his birthday, I went to Lambarena to paint over his name, to make sure that everybody could read where my hero was buried. This was his philosophy. And this was his original signature. And it became my philosophy. It became my philosophy because I believed the moment I met him in 1959, and I came up that staircase in an old house in Rotterdam. You had to go up a styly staircase, and he was standing on the top with that bushy white hair and that big mustache. And there was my hero. For 3 years I had been able to collect books and clippings and pictures and magazines who had written about him. And there he was. And before we were on the same level, and now I'm going really personal because I'm telling you personal stories here. He took my head in his hand and he said, "Ach, mein junge Freund aus Holland." He was a German doctor. He was an Alsatian. "Mein junge Freund aus Holland, du bist die Zukunft." And he kissed me on the forehead. And ladies and gentlemen, I looked in the eyes of something that I have never in my life seen again. Never. The eyes so beautiful, filled with passion, filled with love. Nothing was wrong. Everything was good. And it became my philosophy.
What makes Dr. Schweitzer, a man who could have it all, fame, comfort, and wealth, leave that all behind? Instead, he chose to live and work in a jungle hospital. What makes Dr. Robles, for more than 30 years, follow in the footsteps of Dr. Schweitzer and then choose to practice reverence for life? The answer is in Dr. Schweitzer's and Dr. Robles' own words.
One must be careful not to mix himself up uninvited in other people's business. On the other hand, one must not forget the danger lurking in the reserve which daily life forces on all of us. We cannot let ourselves get frozen into regarding everyone we do not know as an absolute stranger. No man is ever completely a stranger to his fellow man. Man belongs to man. Man has claims on man. Our reserve is condemned to be broken down by the claims of the heart. And thus all of us get into a position where we must reach out and to one of our fellow men become ourselves a man.
I tell you though, I'm sometimes I'm not saying that I'm afraid, because I'm not afraid of death. No, I'm absolutely not afraid of death, because I think when the time comes, and that I have to go home. And that whoever it is, whatever you believe in, will ask, what have you done? Have you left a legacy behind? That's why the name of Legacy International is so important. Have you left a legacy behind? That is so important. And believe me, I do not want to go home and say, no, I didn't leave a legacy behind. I was too selfish. I was only thinking about myself and only thinking about doing this and doing that. When it is so easy and so simple to make a difference, when it is so easy and so simple to leave a legacy, you don't have to be Einstein, you don't have to be Albert Schweitzer, you don't have to be Mother Teresa offering her life and just dumping herself, in India. You can make a difference by just being good to your neighbor, or being good to your to an old person, a blind person that is crossing the street. Nobody's going to laugh and say, oh, look at that good dude, she's doing good. I mean, I know she's just bleeding hard. No, just do it, because you're making a difference.
For SoulTV.net, I'm Patricia Rayner.